Welcome of all of our sisters, all our gender queer, trans, non-binary, and men of conscience, our community, our beautiful, beautiful community gathered here today to say that we demand that our government keep their bans off of our bodies. We know that the issue of abortion is felt by women all over. It's a very widely, deeply felt need. But we know that communities that are most adversely impacted by the lack of abortion are those that are of a certain class, race, gender ability, sexual orientation, and documentation status. We want to acknowledge that those are the communities that we are here fighting for today. Before we get started, sorry we couldn't move this stage over into the shade, but before we get started, we just want to document the beautiful gathering. We are a small but mighty gathering. So let's go ahead, if we can, just for a moment and all gather in front of this stage for a photograph. Let's show all the other counties and states in California how Bakersfield, how Kern County turned out for women's rights.
So exciting.
Don't be shy. You'll be able to go back to your shade spot. Oh, sorry. Yes, we have our photographer there with a tripod.
So go ahead and gather right here in front of the tripod.
Maybe if some of the organizers and the speakers of the march could come on stage. Some of the speakers today and the organizers of the march, please come on stage. Okay, we're going to the my right.
Wow. If you don't keep the screen on.
We just want to say thank you so much to Natasha Bailey, who's here interpreting for us today. Protesters on the corner, please come back for a group photo. Corner protesters, please come back for a moment. We want you for a photo. Okay, someone's going to get them and we're going to do some practice shots.
No, you're doing great. All right, we're good. Do you want to do one with the fist up? Yes. All right. Ready on a count of 3. Huh? We're bringing people from the corner over. Okay, we'll wait for them. Sorry about that.
When the government wants to put bans on our bodies, what do? We stand up, we fight back. What do? Fight back! Try to put a ban on our body, what are we going to do? Fight back! That's right. So I'm just going to go ahead and read some fun facts while you all are standing here and I have a captive audience. So as we all know, the issue is going to be going to the Supreme Court in June. If the U.S. Supreme Court rules on Dobbs versus Jackson's women's health, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, 26 states could have banned abortion overnight. Half of the states in our nation, the women would not have access to safe health care. Not going to stand for that.
Hooray! Our body, our choice.
Our body, our choice. Our body, our choice.
Our body, our choice.
Our body,
Our choice.
our body.
Our choice.
puede.
Sí se 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 puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Thank you, corner protesters.
Alrighty, on the count of 3, say sí se puede. 1, 2, 3.
Sí se puede.
Perfect. Woo! Yeah. Does everybody have their photos? Okay, back to you. We're good.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I cannot expect you to stand here in the sun, but I feel comfortable that you will hear us and the message will be loud and clear, even in the shade.
We're used to this. This is what we do. Audrey! Stop!
I can. So thank you all for coming out today. I want to give special thanks to our sponsoring organizations, Planned Parenthood, the Dolores Huerta Foundation, the Bakersfield AIDS Project, Women's March, Kern County, and South Kern Soul. This person is not an organization, but she went above and beyond to make this event happen today. So we want to give a very special thanks to our MVP today, Crimson Skye. Thank you so much to the Water Community Interventions and the Curbside Kitchen Taco Truck and the Professionals Live Sound Solutions for coming out to work at this event today. We appreciate you being here for women's rights. It is my great pleasure. Well, first I'll introduce myself. I'm Juanita Chavez from the Dolores Huerta Foundation, and I will be your MC for this lovely gathering today. It is my great pleasure to introduce Janelle Gore. Janelle Gore is a local poet, a student at Cal State University Bakersfield, and a reporter with Kern Soul News. In all of her work, she strives to uplift the community around her and lift up their voice. Please give it up for Janelle Gore.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming out here today, fighting for our fundamental rights as women and people with uteruses. So this is a poem that I wrote, and I don't want to say in light of, but in the midst of everything that's happening today. And I just want to say that I'm happy we're all out here and fighting to make sure that men keep their hands and their bands off of our bodies. Okay? So here I go. Sometimes I forget I'm supposed to enjoy being a woman. How can I enjoy my own femininity when it's constantly being picked apart by men? They have made my day job as a woman fighting to keep their laws off my body. Then my nights are spent bailing my body out of their grip. So tell me, how can I enjoy being a woman? Femininity is defined by men too insecure in their masculinity to let us live freely. It's like, as a man, they have to decide when I open my legs. The decision should not be mine as to who enters or exits between my hips. To be a woman who lives unapologetically is to defy every standard set by men. It will drive them to insanity simply watching us live a life we created ourselves. So tell me again, how am I supposed to enjoy being a woman when every time I try, there's a man trying to knock me down? Then he turns around and tries to put restrictions on things that are none of his business. As a woman, I feel like it's constantly being attempted to discuss, dissect, and dispose of my body like it's nothing. Men forget every day that we are their beginnings and ends. Without us, they would cease to exist. So let me say this. Moving forward, I will love every part of the woman I am. My word of advice would be for them to wake up and recognize their place. Promise me you this, from the rise of the sun to the falling of the moon, they will have no authority over me. My body, my choice will not just be words on social media, but cravings engraved in their brains. It will be set in stone that their laws have no say within my most sacred places. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janelle, for those amazing and powerful words that will fuel this movement. We all know that it is time to be loud and support the people that have abortions and the medical professionals that ensure abortion access happens every single day. Please make sure that you're funding your local clinics to keep our clinics open. Donate to your local abortion fund to ensure that people have safe access, support, and funding. And tell your own abortion story. Listen deeply to the stories of the people that you love. This is how we let people know that this is something that we all deserve to have access to. It is my great pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. Sorry about that. Raul Jimenez is the Center Manager of Bakersfield Planned Parenthood Monte. Raul, please welcome Raul.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming out and showing your support. Once again, my name is Raul. I am the Center Manager for the Bakersfield Planned Parenthood. I just want to say, first, we at Planned Parenthood have spent several years preparing for a post-Roe world where we are committed to serving anyone who needs an abortion care, including those who come from abortion-banned states. We have been training clinicians to provide abortion, optimizing training partnerships with medical schools and residencies to secure the future of the workforce of abortion providers, focusing on patient-centric care and planning to expand surgical abortion services and other abortion care at our locations across our affiliates. As you know, severe abortion restrictions in other states already have led to dozens of people to travel to our health centers for abortions. From July of last year until April 15th, Planned Parenthood Monte has provided over 80 patients with services from other states. That includes 29 patients who have traveled from the state of Texas after the 6-week ban went into effect in September. We are planning the capacity to provide 200 to 500 abortions additionally per week in our health centers across our affiliate. If Roe is overturned in June, as it now looks likely, the Supreme Court allows each state to make its own laws regarding abortion. This will result in at least 26 states banning abortions entirely. California anticipates a 3,000% increase in the number of abortion patients we see across our affiliates in California, and we are prepared to help those patients when they come. As a healthcare provider, Planned Parenthood has seen firsthand the devastating consequences for people in states like Louisiana and Missouri, where politicians have restricted access to abortion. Patients are traveling hundreds and thousands of miles across state lines, waiting weeks to get an abortion if they have access to services at all. These barriers are often a disproportionate impact on communities of color who are already facing systematic barriers and access to quality health care. We will continue to provide patients care regardless of where they come from. Thank you guys so much for your continued support.
Thank you so much, Raul. And thank you so much, Planned Parenthood. I am so grateful that when I was facing an unwanted pregnancy, I was a recent high school graduate, I was in my first year of college, and it really just wasn't time for me to have a child. There's no way that I could have continued on with the plans that I had for my life, and there's no way that I could have been a successful parent at that time. And so I'm so thankful that Planned Parenthood in Bakersfield was there for me. It was safe, it was easily accessible, it was affordable, and it changed the course of my life. So I am forever grateful to Planned Parenthood. Thank you so much. My mother chose to have 11 children. That was her choice. I chose to have cats and dogs, and I'm okay with that. Our next speaker is Yusidra Osby. Yusidra is our very own social justice warrior addressing inequities in the Central Valley. She is a daughter, a mother, sister, aunt, and cousin that is passionate about our human and civil rights. Please welcome Yusidra Osby.
Hey everybody! Thank you all for coming out. I'm Yusidra Osby. As she mentioned, I'm a daughter, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, and I'm a cousin. And guess what? All of us here deserve to have our rights, right? We are in the United States of America where we should have rights to do whatever we wish to do, right? And I came out here today to tell you guys that I strongly support abortion rights, an issue that's deeply connected to our systems of criminalization. Abortion bans lead to even more surveillance of poor communities and communities of color. Leads to family separation, increases contact with agencies that police and surveil families. It perpetuates cycles of poverty and incarceration and can literally become an issue of life or death. That's not to mention the racism, patriarchy, and ableism that people already face in our current healthcare system. We have the right to make our own medical care decisions. As such, we believe it's imperative to protect all people's ability to decide if, when, and how to have children, to seek abortion, and to otherwise determine their own reproductive health plans. Reproductive autonomy and quality medical care has a bearing not only on our overall health, but also on the ways we build and care for our families and keep our families together. It has a bearing on our access to adequate housing, how we seek economic opportunities that allows us to escape cycles of poverty and exploitation. It has a bearing on the healing of survivors of abuse and violence. With all this at risk, we're grateful to see so much energy behind abortion access and reproductive autonomy. We encourage people to both get involved with legislative efforts to protect these rights and to contribute locally. I am so honored to be standing here with you all today in solidarity of our reproductive rights. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Yusidra, for those powerful words. They say no choice, we say pro-choice. They say no choice, we say. They say no choice, we say. That's right. Everyone deserves fair, safe, easy, accessible abortion health care. And I am so proud to introduce our next speaker because she's been involved in the fight for many, many years. Noelia Sitialin is a professor and a master's prepared registered nurse. Her specialties are reproductive health, working for Planned Parenthood for 21 years, mental health for 16 years, and nursing education for 14 years. She also currently teaches at Bakersfield College. She also happens to be my bestie niece. Here she is, Noelia Sitialin.
All right, like she said, I'm Noelia Sitialin, and as a 27-year proponent of women's rights, contraception, safe abortion, and reproductive health in general, I am so very sickened that we have to gather here again in protection of Roe. We're facing the biggest fear that we had with the consequences of Trump's agenda, which are being carried out by a handful of mostly men and a woman. I call her Shamey Amy. And the men in politics, they just want to keep their hands on all women's bodies in the country. Their dirty hands on the body of every woman. But you can't tell me that politicians who may possibly impregnate one of their mistresses wouldn't go pay somebody for a safe abortion, right? But this is not going to be available for everybody in the country. Like, let's keep it real, right? And so they want to make this about their delusions, which what they believe to be ethical and moral beliefs, but it's really about our right to autonomy, about our bodies. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. This is nobody's business but a woman's and the people that she chooses to share her health care with. Women's rights are human rights protected under the 14th Amendment. We live in California, which is a liberal state, and sometimes we take our rights for granted here, right? We feel that abortion is safe. However, we cannot take it for granted. Working for Planned Parenthood for 21 years, overturning Roe seemed really far-fetched to me. But now we see how replacing one Supreme Court justice like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, how that's turned out for us. In 2013, Bakersfield saw something where the right to life people tried to set a draconian law making abortion illegal within the city. And the fact that they listened to that in our meeting was appalling, really. So Fresno also faced something similar last year. Women do their best to protect themselves from pregnancy, from infections. They do their best to plan their lives and their families, but things happen. Birth control methods fail, and rape happens. Women, teen girls, they are impregnated by their assailants sometimes, and that's really dark, and it causes trauma. Forced pregnancies, forced labor, forced motherhood, or adoption, that is cruel and unethical, and it further leads to trauma. Removing their option for a safe abortion can further add to that, and people will go to desperate measures. They can become suicidal or try to have an unsafe abortion at their own will. So overturning Roe will definitely take us back to some dark times. You don't have to be in the healthcare field to be an advocate for vulnerable women and families. You can support active organizations like Planned Parenthood, who's right down the street, Dolores Huerta Foundation, right? And make sure you vote in the elections this year because, we're not always safe, right? And we have to be a voice for marginalized women and teens. I want to thank the men that I see out here as well. This is your issue too, right? We can't get pregnant without you, so thanks for supporting our rights. And, I want to add that it's okay to not agree on abortion. It's not okay for a chosen few to decide what we're going to do with our body and what choice we want to have when women get pregnant. And so change may not be immediate, but we needed to let them know where we stand. So I ask you, where do you stand? Do you stand with the women of this country? Do you stand with Planned Parenthood? Then we stand together. And I know there's a few women here. Aquí hay familias también de la comunidad hispana que también quiero darles gracias por estar aquí, porque quiero que sepan que los derechos de abortos y de mujeres son derechos humanos. Y es importante que de cualquier cultura, de donde seamos, de cuánto dinero ganen, si tienen aseguranza o no, que todos merecen los mismos derechos iguales. Y les quiero dar gracias por estar aquí y por apoyar a las mujeres. Y quiero saber que si se puede apoyar a las mujeres, si se puede agarrar seguros, servicios de salud reproductiva. Y gracias.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Noelia. What do we want? Choice. When do we want it? Always. What do we want? When do we want it? Hear you. Can't quite hear you. What do we want? When do we want it? That's right. Very excited to introduce the next speaker. I guess it's a family reunion. My sister, Camila Chavez, is the Executive Director of the Dolores Huerta Foundation. She's on the board of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California and a recent recipient of the Irvine Leadership Award. Please give it up for Camila Chavez. Oh, and our two special guests, Imani and Omari Chavez-Nichols.
Hello, good afternoon. So for those that don't know, I am also the youngest daughter of Dolores Huerta. She often says choice number 11 that she made. I was born in 1976, and that was 3 years after the Roe v. Wade victory. So I have benefited my entire life by having the rights and the resources to decide my destiny. Throughout my life, I have supported multiple friends who have chose to terminate their pregnancies. They made these decisions without parental consent, sometimes with their partners, but always for the benefit of themselves and their futures. These women were professionals, teachers, high school students, college students, doctors. They sought higher education, avoiding poverty and hardship. Just last week, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen was in a Senate hearing, and she confirmed this. She said overturning Roe will have very damaging effects on our economy and will set us back decades. 70% of Americans also agree with this. Years ago, when California had a parental consent initiative on the ballot, we were working to get out the vote. We sat down with a group of farm worker women, Catholics, immigrants, and when we sat down and said, what do you think of this initiative? They said, well, the church tells us it's wrong, and the church tells us we need to vote in favor. And we said, okay, well, we're not with the church, so let's have a real discussion about what this means for our daughters. One woman who said, I know abortion is wrong because the church said, she says, but in my family, when it was my 15-year-old daughter who was pregnant, we knew what we had to do to support her future, and they decided to terminate the pregnancy. Then another woman said, I'm from Mexico. She said she was captured, she was stolen. She said, I was stolen when I was 14 years old. She said, I've had 12 children, and I never had a say about it. She says, we're in America, and my daughters and my granddaughters will have a different choice. So we know that across this country, in our county, right here in Kern, that we all know that pro-choice is the way to go. I'm the proud parent of these two, right? I was able to make the choice of how and when I would start my own family. And I'm terrified that my children will not be afforded the same rights and the same resources. We are here with our children, our mothers, our sisters. We stand in solidarity with women across this country. And as Californians, we cannot be complacent knowing that our state will have us covered. None of us are free until all of us are free. This has been a huge wake-up call. What do? We fight like hell. My favorite Planned Parenthood t-shirt says, do it in the voting booth. And we will. We will register voters. We will educate and mobilize voters for the June 7th elections as well as the November elections. We will have to work harder than ever to ensure that we can send electeds to Sacramento and Washington, D.C. to fight for choice. So for those of you that aren't connected and don't know how, please visit our booth or doloreshuerta.org. We have a GOTV landing page. Get out the vote. We have many options to get involved. You can go door-to-door canvassing. You can phone bank. You can text bank. We must get out the vote. This is imperative. So please visit us and join us. We can do this, right? ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? Sí se puede. Thank you.
Thank you, Camila, Nimani, and Omari. We would just like to show a moment of solidarity with the gathering here that's about to do a moment of silence. So we will respectfully take a pause in the program, and if everyone can, just keep it down for a minute while they're having their moment of silence, that's appreciated. Thank you. Okay, we might have missed it. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, people over there, but we will do our best to continue to send positive vibes that way. Thank you so much, Camila. Thank you for reminding everybody what we need to do right now. It is so important to get engaged. You don't have to be eligible to vote. There are ways to get involved without, in our democratic process without being registered to vote. So if you're too young or you don't have, status in this country, you can still phone bank, knock on doors. There's so much to do. So please find a way to get involved, because really we have to get these legislators out who are trying to put our women's rights under attack. So I'm so honored to introduce our next speaker, actually a performer. Ariel Dreyer is a Bakersfield College librarian who is passionate about working with and for local communities in Kern County. You can find her playing music all around town and advocating for literacy and libraries, both on and off the clock. So please put your hands together for Ariel Dyer, who will bring us some beautiful music now.
That's why. Classic mistake. Should have turned it on. Hi everyone. I don't have a lot to say, but I do have some stuff to sing. So, this one is a Pink Floyd song. It's called Mother. Mother, do you think they'll drop the bomb? Mother, do you think they'll like this song? Mother, do you think they'll try to break my balls? Ooh, Mother, should I build the wall? Mother, should I run for president? Mother, should I trust the government? Mother, will they put me in the firing line? Ooh, is it just a waste of time? think she's dangerous to me. Mother, will she tear your little boy apart? Ooh, mother, will she break my heart? Hush now, baby, baby, don't you cry. Mama's gonna check out all your girlfriends for you. Mama won't let anyone dirty get through. Mama's gonna wait up until you get it. Mama will always find out where you've been. Mama's gonna keep baby healthy and clean. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. You'll always be baby to me. Mother didn't have to be so high. Thanks. All right, I got one more. I wrote this one. It is called Smile. I forgot the words for a second. You mistake my forced and captive audience for flirty rapt attention. It happens to everyone, guys, just so you know. Oh, but honey, I would never, ever in a million alternate dimensions. I can't resist when you persist, 'cause I'm at work. I'd be a jerk for causing tension. You look much better when you smile. I'm choking back on my own bile. I'm sorry, sir, did I forget to mention? I only smile when I want to. And if you have to ask, well, it's not for you. I'd rather file off my tattoos. I only smile when I want me to. She won't care if you think she's pretty. You've crossed the line of being shitty when you say that shit while she's on the goddamn clock. While she's laughing politely, inside she's screaming, bite me between you or death. She choose electric shock. I only smile when I want to. And if you have to ask, well, it's not for you. I'd rather file off my tattoos. I only smile if it's worth my while. I only smile when I want me to. I only smile when I want me to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariel, for lending your beautiful creativity to remind everyone that each of us should be able to live, work, and make decisions about our health and our future with dignity and respect. When people can make these decisions about their own reproductive health care, including whether and when to have children, We all know that this gives people more control over their economic security. Thank you so much, Ariel. And I'm so proud to introduce our next speaker, a powerhouse in our community. Xochitl Garcia is a family law attorney. She is president of the Kern County Bar Association and a founding member of the Immigration Justice Collaborative. Xochitl also serves on the board of directors for CSUB Center for Social Justice, the Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Business Education Foundation, and Latina Leaders. She is most proud of her role as attorney coach for football high school mock trial team, Foothill High, the school mock trial team, which she has coached for 10 years. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for Xochitl Garcia.
Thank you all for having me and coming out here on this beautiful day. I hate that these are the circumstances that we're getting together for. When I was first asked to come and speak today, I started to have conversations with the people in my life who matter most, and those are my parents. My parents are in their mid-70s right now, and when my dad and mom and I sat down around the table to discuss today, my parents shared with me that in 1967, two 17-year-olds, they were both 17 at the time, held hands on public transportation as they made their way to East Los Angeles to the back door of a clinic so that my mom could obtain an abortion. My dad spoke about shaking while he waited for my mom, and my mom stayed quiet at the table. While my dad explained that they were scared, he didn't know if my mom was going to make it out. And as he looked at my mom across the table, he said, "I can't tell you what she went through. I can just tell you that I never dreamed that in my lifetime, this was something that I would be concerned about one of my daughters experiencing, or even my grandchildren." My mom's ability to survive an illegal abortion enabled me to be the first in our family to graduate from college. It enabled my sister and I to both obtain careers of our choice. We come from very humble beginnings. My family, we're first generation on my mom's side in this country and second on my father's. And my mom having to survive that abortion is a fear that no one should have to live through. In talking to other people about the impending decision overturning Roe v. Wade, I spoke to one of my mentors who told me that he's pro-choice, but it just bothers him that women would use abortion as a form of birth control. He's okay with it, but he just doesn't like it when people use it as a form of birth control. So when we think about abortion and our rights to have autonomy over our bodies, I listened to that conversation and I had to stop him. Because I feel that when we discuss abortion and the right to control our bodies and to control our futures, I think it's important that when we accept that and we claim that right, we remove the but from the conversation. You can't just give me a partial right and tell me that you don't like what I do with it afterwards. The fact of the matter is it's none of your business. Whether it's for a health reason, a life planning reason, it just doesn't matter. What do we do with where we are now, and how do we get to where we need to get going? As an attorney, I struggle with this because the Supreme Court is where we go to right the wrongs. It's where we go to change the tide. It's where we went and had to right the wrongs of allowing Black people to attend public schools. It's where we went for the right to control our bodies with Roe versus Wade. And now that same court has done something, is about to do something to take a right away. What do we do with it now? In thinking about this and how I'm going to approach this impending decision going forward, it's made me realize that my role as an attorney is just not enough. It's not enough for me to fight the fight in a courtroom. Every election matters. This is now becoming a state issue, and though most of us in California are fairly safe, it's not enough to just think of myself. We have to start making a plan to, one, make changes on a federal level by demanding that our representatives make this a right. We cannot depend on the courts. The second thing I think we have to do to prepare for the overturn of Roe versus Wade is we need to start a ground roots movement to make sure that the people that are living in those 22 states that have the laws, the trigger laws, that will effectually make abortions illegal there, we have to make plans so that we can give the people living there access to health care, safe abortions, until we can change the tide on the legal level. Whether that's providing travel assistance, anything that they need so that we don't have people dying. We don't have women dying just so that they can control their lives. I'm sorry that this is why we're here today. No one can tell you what to do with your body. No one should. No man, no woman, no child. And what I think it's important to focus on this is never, and it's already been said today, this has never been about the right to life. If this was about the right to life, we wouldn't be fighting the right-wing America so hard to provide decent health care, even prenatal assistance, child care, preschool. We wouldn't be fighting them to obtain these things. This has always been, and it will always be, about keeping women down, about subjugating the poor, minorities, because it's been said, the rich will still obtain abortions. They'll throw them on planes, and it'll be included in a spa day, courtesy of Santa Monica. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I'm tired. I know you're tired too, but lives are on the line, our future is on the line, and I'm glad to be here with you to do the heavy lifting moving forward so that we can be a better country. We as women can survive this. We as minorities can survive this. We as Americans can survive this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xochitl, for those moving words. It reminds me of another attorney that I think we're all fans of. The notorious RBG said, the decision whether to not to bear a child is central, whether to or to not bear a child is central to a woman's life, to her well-being and dignity. It is a decision that she must make for herself. So keep government off our bodies. The next speaker that I'm introducing is someone from the Dolores Huerta Foundation Life Program, Liberated Youth for Empowerment. And she is currently a junior at Monte High School and is going to be supported, backed up by a lot of the youth from our youth program. So please welcome them now.
Woohoo! Yes!
Okay, and their sign game is on point.
Hello everybody.
Hello.
I'm Natalie. I'm fortunate enough to be here to speak out loud about my rights and fight for everyone to have the right to abort. As a teenager in America, I'm scared As a teenager in America, I'm scared for my future as a woman. To know that there might be a possibility that my right to choose to have a child or not is taken away frightens me. What I do about my body should not be a concern to anyone, especially the government. We are only taking steps backwards instead of forward if the Roe vs. Wade is overturned. Banning abortion only bans safe abortion. We know restricting the right to do something will only lead people to do it more. We can't let people who know nothing about our bodies try to take away something so scarce to us. For me, knowing I have a choice to either have or abort something I may or may not be ready for yet gives me hope. But the Roe vs. Wade is overturned. It leaves me hopeless and many others. Yes, putting it up for adoption is a choice, but some of us can't give away 9 months just to give birth to something that we don't want. Whether you are religious or not, it still does not give you the permission to determine what is right and what is wrong to do with our bodies. Yes. What does the government gain from taking away abortion rights? Because it surely won't help any survivors left pregnant. Instead of taking away our rights, why not give women more help by giving us more health care benefits, paid maternity leave, or even more child care facilities? Then maybe we'll think about having a child in America. Thank you.
My body. My body. My body.
My choice.
Keep your rosaries off my ovaries. Thank you, Natalie. I just want to let everybody know that we do have some porta potties in the back that we've gotten for this event, and that there's cool water to drink by the DHF booth and the Women's March booths. Please go ahead and help yourselves to that cool water. Everyone stay hydrated. The temperatures are getting up there now, so please take care of yourself, take care of your body. The next person, as I've already mentioned, was integral to this event today, really is being voted as, not an official vote, but as the MVP, I hear, for this event. So it's my great honor and pleasure to bring up our next performance artist, Crimson Skye. Please put your hands together.
Thank you guys for coming out today. As Sochi said, I am sorry that we're here to gather for this reason, but I'm so glad that we're all here to stand up for the rights of women. And I just wanted to say a little something before I sing. It's just been so heavy on my heart that this is something that could have just gone by if it wasn't leaked a couple weeks ago. Our government would have taken no time to let us know that something important was happening next month with this, And it took the leak to raise our awareness, for us to come out here and try to raise other people's awareness so that we can get out there and vote. But it's clearly not important to the government for us to have a choice and use our voice. And I feel blessed to be able to use my voice to just spread awareness, and get people out there to vote. And I think that obviously we need safe and healthy access to birth control and to abortion. Not only are there elective abortions that can occur in a woman's life, but selective or spontaneous abortions that we don't have control over. And whether or not we take the choice to terminate a pregnancy, or if it's God's choice to terminate a pregnancy, it's traumatic either way, and it can affect a woman in a similar way. And if we're going to try to legislate abortions, it scares me how we would do that, because a woman could undergo a spontaneous abortion, and then what are we going to question that? And was that your choice, or how did this happen? And that's just something that, thank you for those comments, something that makes the experience so much more traumatic than it already is, if we're going to question a woman about all of that. And any man that will never experience pregnancy should obviously have no right to tell a woman what they can do with their body. Pregnancy is one of the most dangerous things that a woman will undergo. Most women will undergo it, but we should have the choice to do that, whether it doesn't matter what reason it is, we should have the choice to do that. And I think that education is extremely important. Mental health is extremely important. Physical health is extremely important. And it's not being prioritized in our country, especially for women and minorities and the poor. And we need access to all of these things so that we can grow, so that we can help each other, and so that we can thrive. And I do not wish being unwanted on any child. And unless someone wants to go ahead and take their time to take care of each and every child that is unwanted themselves, I just don't, it's really frustrating for people to think that they should have control over other people's bodies. If you don't want to have an abortion, that's wonderful. Don't have an abortion. And if someone else wants to be whatever they want to be, we cannot put people down for being what they want to be. And in my mind, I live in this new world of where we have freedom of choice to be what we want to be. And this song that I'm going to sing is called It's a New Day. And I really would like us to enter this new day of choice.
Yes. Échale, Crimson. Sing it, baby.
Say wash it all away. Wash it all away. Wash it all away. It's a new day. It's a new day. Once I wash it all away. Wash it all away. Wash it all away. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Oh, yeah. It's a new. I got a little bit on my mind today. A little bit of shit on my mind today. I'm trying to fuel the fire, trying to stand and fight, stand and fight. I got a little bit on my mind today. A little bit of shit on my mind today. I'm trying to stand and fight. Gotta fuel my fire. Fuel my fire. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. Oh, yeah. It's a new day.
Is that better? Can you hear me better now? Yes? Inara, and all the other daughters of Bakersfield, never be afraid to raise your voice. Silence starts with the letter S, which is the same as that word, sex, which ends in an X, which we women have been rated because we're degraded to nothing more than that wiggle in our hips and that jiggle in our tits. Silence only has one eye, but that's all that it takes for us to see. That for them it's all about dick, shun, not lack of conviction, which they want to feed. Those politicians want our silence for the rapists, for the incest, for the violence. We must look to the end of that silence where we'll see there is an E, which belongs to this we. And we must proclaim, and I'm gonna proclaim 3 times, and you're gonna repeat after me. Stop banned births. Stop banned births. Stop banned births. Stop banned births. Stop forced births. Stop forced births. Stop the silence. We must end the silence in the war on women's bodies. We must end it. We must end it now. Stop the silence. End the violence for our daughters and their future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chris Cruz Boone. And thank you for that poem, because I wasn't sure if I should read this quote, but now I feel like it's okay. We will not be told what's best for our uterus by men who can't even identify our clitoris. What's up with that? Our next speaker is Monique Reynoso, representing today for the mayor's office of Brian Osorio, mayor of Delano, who has been a progressive voice of leadership in Kern County and an advocate for women's rights. Please welcome Monique Reynoso.
Hi everyone, my name is Monique Reynoso and I'm here representing the mayor of Delano, Brian Osorio, who couldn't make it today because his only sister is graduating from college right now. I am one of the growing number of young leaders who are stirring up good trouble in our small city. So I'm here to share some remarks on our shared values for today's rally. Today is a national day of action to send a message that we, the people here, and those watching us in support will not be silent as people's rights are under attack. Many communities, like Kern County, are mobilizing at this moment to fight back against the Supreme Court's plan to end the constitutional right to abortion. As we know that this issue is a sensitive issue. Lately, the word abortion has been thrown out so loosely, and I ask us to pause and remember that there is pain and anger associated with it. There is trauma, yet it is so easy for the far right to vilify people who go through this process. It is especially important to remember that being pro-choice means that no matter your personal feelings or thoughts on abortion, we understand that it's not your place, my place, or the government's place to make a decision for any person about what they can or cannot do with their body. Today is also when we ask, when does it stop? When do conservative extremists stop being so hypocritical when it comes to preserving human life? Whether it's having to do with the rights of immigrants, Black Americans, unhoused individuals, children in foster care, or other vulnerable groups, we don't see the same level of empathy to improve their quality of life. And ever since this country was founded, women have had to fight for their rights. So today, let's continue chanting and fighting to protect people, reproductive rights, and many have before us. Let's continue showing up and never stop fighting for people's rights in this state and in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monique, from that message from our Delano Mayor, Brian Osorio. Whether you live in Delano, Bakersfield, Arvin, Lamont, we all need access to abortions in our communities. Laws like SB 8 in Texas and bans in states like Mississippi, Oklahoma, Idaho target communities that have survived and continue to struggle to survive systemic oppression. All people deserve access to the abortion care they need, when they need it, in the community that they live in and trust. So thank you all for being here today to make sure that we are defending that right and taking it back. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our next performer. Kelsey Morrow is a queer musician and activist who has been singing and marching for the rights of marginalized communities for many, many years. Please give it up for Kelsey Morrow.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi. I also go by Kelso. That's more of a gender-affirming name for me.
I apologize for that, Kelso. All right.
It's a nickname, but I prefer it over my regular name.
Give it up for Kelso!
Thank you. Hi. Thank you very much for having me here today. Again, also very fed up with the fact that we have to be here again today. The first song, there we go. The first song I will be singing is called Bloom, and it is about resilience even when you are placed in a hostile environment. They say bloom where you're planted, but sometimes the circumstances just aren't ideal for a flower to grow free. Sometimes birds will carry seeds over mountains through the trees and drop you somewhere unfamiliar and unkind. But I will not bloom. I will become a weed and take over everything. Invasive species, let me be unyielding. I am through being so fragile all the time. Bring the sunlight, bring the storm. I won't be hurt anymore. Now my roots have gone too deep for them to scorch. I haven't seen those green pastures they talked about. I've never known the blessed meadows or hallowed ground. The other side is fantasy my heart rejects so tacitly. Return me to the earth to wait and see that I will not bloom. I will become a weed and take over everything. Invasive species, let me be unyielding. I am through being so fragile all the time. Bring the sunlight, bring the storm. I won't be hurt anymore. Now my roots have gone too deep for them to scorch. Invasive species,
I won't be hurt anymore. Now my roots have gone too deep for them to scorch. Now my roots have gone too deep for them to scorch. Thank you. All right, this next one I will be singing, I've sung at several Women's March occasions and whatnot, but I have updated some of the lyrics to fit this occasion. Can I feel beautiful and wanted for a moment? Wear a dress without you asking the occasion. Can I look into the mirror? Come to terms with what I see here. Can I exist without hearing an opinion? The question is, what do I do? One answer is, it don't concern you. Leave me alone. Don't say a thing. Don't say a syllable, just go back in hiding. I'm not fighting, I'm just asking, can I live my life before you die? May I mind my body while you mind your business? Can I make decisions without hearing interference? Can you look me in the eye, say you're God?
Let's make sure that we leave this park looking very nice when we head out. I'm now so proud to introduce Julie Sepulveda Gibson, a veteran teacher, 29 years serving students in Kern County, CTA, California Teachers Association State Political Committee, NEA RA delegate, National Educators of America, and RA delegate and co-founder of Women's March Kern County. Please put your hands together for Julie Sepulveda Gibson.
Okay, please, thank you for everyone who has been here today, whether it be our sponsors of today's event, Women's March Kern County, the Dolores Huerta Foundation, our wonderful Planned Parenthood, and all that you've had to go through, not only with this issue, but with the pandemic. To Crimson for always being my right hand and knowing I can call. To Whitney Waddell, another one of my favorite Kern County icons of causes, who called me and said, we've got to do something. Thank you. Thank you to every man out here who supports women's health rights, who supports and loves women. Thank you to every one of you marchers, sign holders, and to our dogs sometimes that come out. On January 21st, 2017, hundreds of thousands of people came together for a massive protest aimed largely at Donald Trump's administration and the threat it represents to reproductive, gender, civil, and human rights. Our hope that began on the buses of Kern County to the Women's March LA that year, and to those of us who were at the event in Utah, started the movement of our community that united people of like-minded principles. But he's gone, but his philosophy is staying, and it's living on. Our connections were formed over these last 5 years. We have empowered women all over our community know that we're not alone. And when we once may have wondered if we were the only ones who had the same values, we've seen you. We see what you do, and we thank you. I'm honored that you agreed to continue these efforts and being here and creating an even more unity in our community and giving a voice to our shared values. You know, Planned Parenthood brought out an amazing amount of shirts, pins, and hats that you didn't have to pay for. My challenge to you is to get out of your comfort zone and wear that shirt and hat every day until the reading of this issue. These shirts and hats and buttons need to be seen in Bakersfield, in public places. Happen to go into Hobby Lobby? May not. But wear them out. Wear them in public places and be that voice. You have to get out of your comfort zone.